Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Morning,
Good.
afternoon, whatever it is now.
It's still morning.
First off, welcome to our 6-week partner challenge. I know some of you have done this before, some of you haven't. So today is kind of just going to be an overview of the different options that I sent you via email, answer any questions you might have, and like kind of just get you ready for our starting on Monday. Does that sound like a good idea? First off, did everybody get my email that I sent out yesterday? Did anybody have a chance to look at it?
Partially.
Okay. And again, you have all weekend to look at it. You can email me, you can text me any questions or concerns that you might have. So kind of going into it, before I've only done like a macro way to do this program, I kind of gave another simpler way to do it in case you don't want to macro count and enter all that information, because sometimes that can be tedious. So whatever option you choose, it's still going to be, eating healthy foods, all those types of things. So first off, that success guide manual that I sent you, please take time to read it. Whether you're doing the macros or you're doing the portion control sizing, this is very, very important for you to read. It kind of just goes over the basis of like why we're doing what we're doing, what we want you to do, and all that kind of good information. So kind of going through that, it starts off by talking about the top 10 habits of healthy, effective eaters. So, making sure you're eating breakfast every morning. Do I have anyone who doesn't like to eat breakfast? I can't stress enough how important getting up and eating breakfast is. Not just for your metabolism, but to start your day off right, everything. And I usually say eat within the first 30 to 60 minutes of getting up. So if you do take medication in the morning that doesn't allow you to eat that first hour, if you take it, make sure that you're eating an hour afterwards. But definitely within the first 30 to 60 minutes of getting up, eat a good breakfast. Can't stress that enough. And then eat throughout the day, kind of every 2 to 4 hours, depending on what your schedule entails. If you're not going to be able to get a snack in the afternoon, we may have to make some of your meals a little bit bigger to get you through that time period, because you don't want to eat 400 calories in the morning at 8 o'clock, let's say, and not eat anything until 2 o'clock. That's not enough time. You need more fuel for your body, if that makes sense. Not all calories are the same. Even though this is calorie, it's not, okay, you have 13 to 1,500 calories, you can eat what you want with those calories. It's not the same. So I'm gonna push lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of lean meats, healthy fats, and then we'll steer away from certain foods. Whole foods versus processed foods, stay away from processed stuff as much as possible. And if it comes in a box, read what's in it, read the ingredients. If you don't know what any of the ingredients that are in it, don't get it. And again, you don't have to be perfect. If you slip up every once in a while, we're all human, we all do that. You can allow yourself a cheat meal a week if you want to. But with that cheat meal, you also have to think, is that gonna set me back? Or is that going to increase my cravings? With some people, if you can control and just have that little splurge and get back on track, that's great. But if you know yourself and that's not you, that if you have that, it's gonna set you, oh, I want this, I want that, I'd probably say stay away from the cheat meal for a little bit. Does that make sense? Cut out the sugar, increase the protein, and then consistency. Prepping is gonna be huge for all of this. Nothing extravagant. Everything that I put in here, I tried to make as simple as possible, that it's not gonna be horribly time consuming. And if it makes large portions, all this stuff freezes. So the chili that I put in there all freezes. So if you're single or live by, it's only 2 of you and it's not, making a big pot of chili sometimes, you get sick of eating it after a week, freeze it. All this stuff freezes, so you can take it out during another week and half your meal prepping is done. So that's kind of a nice thing that you can do as well. And then some of them are single servings also. The 5 do nots, again, watch the processed foods, the artificial sweeteners, and even the sugars. Like, make sure that they're natural sugars, fruits, not a whole lot of extra stuff. Stay away from the aspartame, I'm trying to think of. Stevia. No, stevia is okay. Stevia, honey, anything, agave nectar, any of those will be okay. But Splenda, kind of any of those artificial sweeteners, Sweet and Low, all that kind of stuff, I will recommend that you kind of steer away from as much as possible. Even though they may not have calories, so to speak, they're still kind of artificial, that we want our body to have as many natural foods as possible and kind of eliminate the junk, and because that junk is what kind of slows our metabolism down. So we really want to watch that. Breads, pastas, cereal, if you eat any of that, make sure it's really good quality. You know, Special K, a lot of people love Special K. Honestly, Special K isn't that good for you. Portion size, calorie-wise, yes, it fits within this, but it's still about a bunch of processed stuff. And if a strawberry can last in a box for that long, there's something wrong with that. You know, so if you wanted to get, you know, a whole grain cereal and cut up your own strawberries and put them on there, you know, those are better options. And even, you know, your bread, make sure it's higher quality bread. The only bread that I put on here was Ezekiel bread, which is sprouted bread, which is definitely healthier for you. You'll find it actually in the freezer section in an orange package. Not saying you have to do that, but it's a higher quality bread that will fill you up. I didn't include a whole lot of bread or pastas or anything on this, just like I didn't include a whole lot of dairy on this as well. Not saying you can't have dairy, but that is one thing that if you're really looking for success, I would say eliminate or minimize, especially at the very beginning. Sometimes if you take away some of the inflammatory foods, which are, you know, your gluten, your alcohol, caffeine, and dairy, if you take some of those away for just even a little bit and you slowly add them back, you can kind of see how your system reacts. So I definitely say limit or eliminate those just for a little bit if you want to really see a good kickstart to this program. I barely put any dairy. I think the only thing dairy-wise I have there is on string cheese. Like, if you wanted to include that, but you can also switch it out for anything as well. And then alcohol. Let's talk about alcohol real quick. I know, oh, how I miss it. But alcohol really slows your metabolism down, and you know there's no good calories to it or anything. So if you do like to have your occasional glass, I would set it aside for once a week, 1 or 2 drinks at the most. But again, don't be surprised if your weight shoots up and you just feel kind of yucky if you haven't had it. So maybe just, you know, not saying you have to do it, not have it throughout the whole 6 weeks, but maybe just really limit it to a special occasion or something that you have going on. Again, I'm just trying to give you tips on how to see the best results in this program. Yeah, so definitely watch the alcohol, and then, you know, a lot of alcohol, you put other stuff in, you put juices, you put soda, even diet soda. I'm an advocate of no diet soda. So if you do drink diet soda or anything, kind of limit it or cut back on it. I'm not saying you can't have it all together. I would like you not to have it all together, but if you do drink it, cut back on it a little bit. Coffee is another thing. Cutting back on coffee, especially if you get the mocha choco latte, frappuccino type stuff that are out there. There are out there. But you know, if you're drinking 4 or 5 cups a day, let's cut down to maybe 1 or 2. And water is going to be a key in this as well. I'm not going to ask you to drink a gallon. If the literature says that, I forgot to change it. But I'm going to ask you to drink at least half your body weight in water. If you drink any sort of caffeine, you will need to add that much more water. Because caffeine is a diuretic. Bruce, don't you look at me like that, because I know you're going to argue with me.
Half your body weight, what period?
In water, like ounces. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you're going to drink 100 ounces.
Okay.
That's a lot of water.
Again, I'm not, and let me go back to that point. If you don't drink that amount, let's slowly increase it. So if you only drink 2 bottles, so let's say 24 ounces of water, let's go the first week, let's try to get 48 ounces. A day. Yes, not a week.
How much
Four of these is a
I
gallon.
drink in
So
a
you know,
week.
slowly increase it. Don't think like, oh my gosh, I get 24 ounces, now you want me to drink 100 ounces? Yes, you'll be
Wow.
running to the bathroom, but let's slowly increase it. I'd say definitely try to at least get 80 ounces a day.
How much?
80. That would be a goal. Not saying you have to do that right off the bat, but it's amazing with when you change your eating and when you start to work out and stuff, it's what's gonna flush. We're gonna be breaking down body fat. The only way to get it gone is through excretion. So we want to flush all that stuff out. And most people are dehydrated because all we do is drink
I'm sure I am.
caffeinated
It's
beverages
good for your
or
wrinkles.
juice or anything like that we need. I think the statistic says like 75% of all Americans are dehydrated. So make sure that you get enough water. Water is
know.
key. And yes, it'll take time, you'll be running back and forth, but when you consistently start to get that water, you won't have to be running to the bathroom as much. It's that first start when you're not used to it that you add it, and yes, you're going to, but that's your body's way of detoxing and flushing stuff out. So again, don't think, oh my gosh, I have to get 80 ounces right away if we don't even come close to that now. Slowly start to add it in, if that makes sense. You know, because I don't want you to be frustrated, like, well, I can't get 80 ounces in. You know,
Well,
okay,
you
let's
that much a week?
you can, but let's start gradually. This whole
Yeah.
process is a gradual thing. Just because I have this as your sample menu doesn't mean you have to follow this to a T. Doesn't mean you have to jump right in like, oh my gosh, and get so overwhelmed with all of this. Start slowly. Even making, that's why I kind of gave a different option that says, okay, you're gonna have a protein, a fruit, a grain, and possibly a veggie for breakfast. And then included with that are kind of like the portion sizes.
Oh, I couldn't find that. Is that what that?
That was right underneath that in the email.
Oh, okay, because I like
So it's
that
another
second
link.
option, but I couldn't find the.
Right,
I was
so
gonna
it
ask
just
you
kind of
about
lays out,
that.
and it's different for the amount of weight that you want to lose as well.
Okay,
So
I'll look.
if you have less than 20 pounds, you follow one portion size. If you have 20 to 40, or if you have 40 more. And you'd be surprised that if you have 20 to 40 pounds to lose, you're actually eating more. Which I know sounds weird, but it works. Trust me, it works. So again, two different options depending on what sample you want to do. I was trying to make it that macros can be a little overwhelming for people, so I wanted to give a second option. But it's still, again, a protein or a fat doesn't mean you can have, you know, a double cheeseburger.
Darn.
And, you know, for your fruit, I definitely say try to steer away from grapes and even bananas and stuff, some of the higher sugar fruits. If you do have a banana, a serving of a banana is half a banana. So 2 servings of fruit is a whole banana, just because the sugar content is so high. Not saying you can't have a banana because there's a lot of good vitamins and minerals, but there are other fruits that have a lower glycemic index so your sugar doesn't spike so much, if that makes sense. Any questions so far? Let me stop so I can have a breath in. Any questions?
Just to throw, the video will be up on our Facebook group later today, so we've all should have gotten an invite to that through that first email. So if you're like,
This is
talking about a lot of stuff, you can click this back on and it should be all pinned to the top of the page. So later today, you'll be able to go back and look through the video to see if there's something you missed or.
And if you go
Just
home
listen into here.
and have questions, do not wait till week 3, 4 to ask me any questions. If you need to make it a time to sit down with me for 5 or 10 minutes, we can go over that. One of the big things I'm gonna ask you to do too is log what you're eating. Whether it's a pen and paper or one of the apps that they have on your phone, sometimes those can be overwhelming. So even just having a little notebook that you're writing down what you're eating, the time that you're eating, and the amount, you know, those are definitely things that I would like you to do as well. Because if you're having trouble and we're not seeing the results, if I don't know exactly what you're eating day to day, I can't pin eating and be like, well, I kind of have this, I kind of have that. I want to see exactly what you're doing. So then I can kind of help you and give you feedback on, oh, let's make this change or let's make this change, if that makes sense. Any questions so far? You're not allowed to wear that sweatshirt in here anymore, by the way.
I have a Notre Dame one out in the car too.
Came, thank goodness. So again, let's kind of go over the sample menu. And just so you know, this took me about 14 hours to create. These things are very, like the macro stuff is very time consuming to lay out to make sure that your numbers are getting in those ranges. So for women, I've asked 13 to 1,500 calories. Men, 1,700 to 1,900. So before, when we've done this program, I had 14 and I had 18. Well, people got too overwhelmed with like, I can't ever get 18. So I go 100 below and 100 above, where I kind of want you to be. So you kind of have that range. That's an easier way to get the amount of calories. Same thing for the proteins, your carbs, and your fats. Which your proteins, your carbs, and your fats are your macros. So those are the range, you know, I try to stay within the ranges of all that information that I sent to you guys. It will never be perfect, so don't ever try to be perfect. Stay within the ranges. And for the carbs, it's the net carbs. So net carbs are your total carbs minus your fiber. So on some of them, you'll see, like for women, I think you're supposed to stay under 100 net carbs. If you look at the daily total carbs, it's like, oh, it's at 131. Well, you're at, you're 30 grams over. But if you have, your 40 grams of fiber, you're under that net carbs, if that makes sense.
Does FitnessPal calculate that in?
No.
Oh, okay,
No, unfortunately, it does not. They think of a carb,
okay.
but a lot of times with the MyFitnessPal, they put you at like 50% carbs right off the bat, anyone doing further weight loss, which I have never had anyone have success with 50%
Are the
carbs.
percentages the same?
Yes.
Okay.
So the percentages are, for both male and female, 40% protein, fat. 40% fat, 35% protein, and 25% carbs, which you could consider low carb, but if you look at what you're eating, you're like, oh my gosh, that is a lot of carbs, because they're good carbs. Good carbs are not high in calories. So, you're having anywhere from 2 to 3 servings of fruit a day. You're having anywhere from 4 to 6 or 7 servings of vegetables a day. And that's what I'm going to promote, is at least 2 to 3 servings of fruit and 4 to 7 servings of vegetables. And vegetables are kind of free game. So if you're hungry during the day and you're kind of sticking with this, feel free to add vegetables throughout the day if you want to, if you're getting hungry. Some people look at this, they're like, I can eat all of this? This is a lot of food. And again, that's where you can eat a little for a lot or a lot for a little. A double cheeseburger from McDonald's is gonna be 1,400 calories. Well, that's a whole daily value of what you want. Whereas you can eat the smoothie, a quarter cup of nuts, the strawberries, a salad, turkey breast with carrots, and then, spiralized zucchini instead of pasta I have on there for dinner. I mean, that's a lot of food that you can eat throughout the day. And sometimes people struggle with even getting that amount of food at the beginning. So again, that's a process as well. If you can't eat all of this in the total beginning because you're not used to eating this much, it's okay. This is a process. Over the 6 weeks, yes, you have the challenge of losing this or that, but I also want to teach you for beyond the program to be able to eat and do all that kind of stuff after the 6 weeks. Any questions? Now let's see if there's anything else. So we want to eat frequently, drink water. Don't feel surprised if maybe you get hungry if you're used to eating certain foods. That if you have a sugar craving, or if you have this kind of craving or this kind of craving, especially if we're taking certain foods away, sometimes that's all you want at the beginning. So increasing your water will help with that. And then again, if you have any of those issues, contact me right away. Send me a text, call me, shoot me an email, and I will help you with that as much as I can. Don't eat out of boredom, which we all can tend to do. If you're sitting around, watching a football game or something, oh, wings sound good, or this sounds okay. What are some healthier options? If you're gonna go to a party, I always say, if you know there's gonna be bad food around, eat a little bit beforehand, and even bring like a dish. I know that sounds weird, even like, oh, you don't have to bring anything. If you know how they are or you know what they're gonna cook, bring something anyway. Oh, I just had this laying around, I thought I'd bring it. Nothing to offend them, but at least for something for you to have there that you can eat to stay on track. Because again, during those types of social events, you can just munch and munch and munch, and then you're like, oh, I may have ate a little too much, or I ate too much of this type of thing. So just be aware of what you're eating. And if you do make a mistake, don't dwell on it. We're human, we all have that meal or have that dish or have that drink, and it's like, crap, well, my day's done, and you just kind of binge the rest of the day. Be like, okay, I did it, whatever, I'm gonna get back on track the next meal. We don't wanna get down on ourselves for making a mistake, because we're all human, we all do that. And this is, like I said, this is a process, and no one eats perfect. Very few people eat perfect, even if they say they do. So again, I'm not asking you to be perfect, I'm just asking you to be honest and track and do the best that you can. And again, whether that's not even following this plan to begin with, as if it's, okay, I'm not gonna drink soda this week. If that's the one thing that you wanna do that first week to get rid of and make some healthier choices, that's a good way, that will be a good way to start. And you probably will lose weight. So don't feel like you have to jump into these. These are just there to help you as guidelines. And if there's something on the menu, well, I really don't like strawberries. Okay, let's pick a different berry or a different type of fruit. It may not fit in with the calories and stuff completely, but it'll be relatively close. Because I know not everyone likes salmon. If there's fish on there that you don't like, you know, you can switch salmon for tilapia or cod or whatever that you want to do. Don't feel like you have to, this is what she said to eat. It's not necessarily. These are just guidelines to help you. Ideas to help you in this process. Does that make sense? And then I got up this morning and I will send this to you along with the link to the video of a bunch of other recipes that you can include with this. There's a few different breakfasts, there's a few muffins, there's a few other chilies and just easy dishes that hopefully won't take a whole lot of time. And I'll send you a lot of this, some more throughout, you know, probably every 2 weeks I'll send you some new recipes so you don't get burnt out on the same
Did you send
old
that already?
things. No, I have not sent
Oh,
this.
okay, because I was gonna say. I
No,
didn't
no,
get
I'll send
anything
that
today.
this afternoon with the link to the video and stuff that we'll have.
Great.
And then another thing that I find helpful when I'm meal prepping, because we usually prep every Sunday, because during the week, I mean, we are here from 5 in the morning to 7 or 8 o'clock at night sometimes.
Oh.
And it's hard to get home at 7 o'clock and prep dinner or cook. You don't want to. We get caught in that, well, what do you want? Well, you know, I don't really know. I don't want to cook. So we try to do a lot of our prepping on Sundays because that's our one day that we get to. And these little babies have helped us tremendously. So these are kind of like our little containers that when we prep, we put everything into. So usually we'll put like our protein over here. You know, this holds about a cup of vegetables, a cup of sweet potato, whatever you want to do, but we mix and match. And these are, you know, a lot of these are like BPA free. You can put them in the dishwasher. They don't last for forever, but they'll last at least a few months, just like any kind of Tupperware type thing. But these are our go-to. So we'll put chicken or steak with vegetables, sweet potato, you know, whatever we want in here. And these will be stacked. We'll grab them for lunch, we'll grab them for dinner, whatever we have that plan that day. So I really like, and they have them to where it's like 2 big containers like this. They have it so it's just one. They have a lot of different things, and we did buy a bunch of these if anybody wants any of these. And then, look, these were supposed to be bigger. They said they were supposed to hold a cup. These are only half a cup. But little portion sizes. I wanted a cup, so again, a lot of the portion sizes for fruit is a cup. So you can just put, you're serving a fruit, put it in there, put it in your lunch, grab it to go. But to have like probably 5 or 6 of these in the fridge that are already prepped that you can just grab and go. Same thing with vegetables, you could put these in there, counting out the 20 carrots, putting them in a little Tupperware container, putting them in the fridge, grab and go. Trying to make it as simple as possible, if that makes sense. So these are a lifesaver. All this stuff kind of is when you're short on time and don't want to have to come home and measure anything out and whatnot. So just trying to give you suggestions on how to be successful. No questions still? You guys are, yes, Bruce?
Say you're doing something like additional exercise, like running or walking long distances and stuff. How do you compensate? Or, you know, if you're burning more calories than like the average person?
If you're burning more calories than the average person, we would probably have to sit down and add probably either more protein or more carbs or something depending on that day, and we can get that. If it all depends on how much you have to lose as well, or if that's even your goal for losing. Usually, if you're going to do more activity, and you have over 10 pounds, 15 pounds to lose, I'm not going to tell you to add any other calories back in, because we want your body to utilize body fat as energy, as that stored energy, and burn that off. But if you're like, 3 weeks down the road, you've already lost 10 or 15 pounds. Some people, especially gentlemen, can tend to do that a little easier. But let's say you do lose 10 or 15 pounds and you're like, I'm getting tired again, all that type of thing. It probably means we do need to add more calories to you. Because the more you lose, and if you're burning more, you probably will need more caloric intake, which sounds weird, but it's just the way it goes, and it helps. So again, we may have to add more calories, and you'd be surprised that you would continue to lose even with eating more. Your body just needs more in order to get through the day. If that makes sense. Any other questions? No? That's pretty much all I have. Just kind of.
Are we like weighing in once a week and giving you food
Oh.
journals occasionally, or how
So
often?
different ways to do that. So if you're gonna do like MyFitnessPal, we can connect and become friends, and I can monitor your diary like that. If you want to stop in and bring it in once a week, if it's pen and paper, we can do that. You can scan it, make copies of it, leave it with me, drop it off for a day. I've had people who've had like 2 going, so that like at the end of 1 week, they'll bring me it in, have me look at it, and they'll use their other one until we flip flop and give it back. So whatever works. You can I would like you to weigh in every week, but you definitely have to weigh in every other week. Because I'll send kind of results out every 2 weeks with how the teams are doing for the competitive aspect of this. So weigh in every week. You need to weigh in by Monday. If you want to weigh and measure today, you can. Or if you want to stop in on Monday, you can as well. Some people want that extra day or two so they can indulge and have a little something before they start on Monday, rather than weighing today and then indulging and going up a pound or 2 and being like, oh, that was 2 more pounds to my thing that I could have lost. So it just depends on what you want to do. But definitely, I want you to weigh in once a week, whether it's with me, whether it's with Zach. If you're coming to classes, we can weigh you before or after. For the first one and the very last one, we will weigh, we will measure, and we'll do your body fat. We won't do any of that in between unless you ask for it. So at 3 weeks, you're like, I feel like my pants are feeling better. Can we do some measurements to see how I've done that? But mostly we'll just be weighing every week, if that makes sense. And I'd probably suggest trying to weigh in around the same time, because if like you come in and you weigh today, or you weigh Monday morning, and then you can't make it in and you weigh at night, there may be a few pound difference, and I don't want you to get frustrated, like, oh, I haven't lost anything. Well, that's not necessarily true if you're not weighing in around the same time of day. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes?
I did think of a question. What about protein drinks?
I do like protein, and I do like protein drinks. It all depends on what's in them. So I try to go as natural as possible. If you have a protein powder you like to use.
I think it's Gold Standard.
Okay.
Is that one?
I'm not familiar with that one, but if you
Okay.
want to snap me a picture
Okay.
of it with the ingredients, I can give you my feedback on it.
Okay.
Most of the time, if you don't really know what's, if you look at the ingredients and there's a few you don't know, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad,
Okay.
but I can at least point you in a different direction. I can send out some protein. Write that down, Zach, to give protein suggestions. Bolden, no.
Hey, that's not
No.
Oh,
Yeah, so definitely, again, if you're slacking in protein in certain ways, definitely throwing a protein shake in there it can be a very good idea. It just depends on what you're mixing it with and all that kind of stuff, and what kind it is.
I do water.
Yeah, some people do water, some people like milk, whatever, works for you. But definitely, if you're struggling with the protein portion and you're sick of meat and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
adding a protein shake in, is okay.
Okay, thanks. I do have a question. What about like eating before we work out, like if we're here at 5:15? Because I have a really hard time with that.
That is such a hard question. Eating before you work out, especially if it's super, super early. Because I know you missed the part where eating within that 30 to 60 minutes. I'd say not necessarily have to eat a whole meal, but I would definitely eat something. Even whether it's like half an apple
Okay.
and a tablespoon of peanut butter.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be like a huge meal, so kind of
Okay.
take like your snack and have that before breakfast.
Okay.
So
Okay.
kind of flip-flop in that sense.
Okay. And then like skip the snack part of it between the breakfast and the lunch, or just.
It all depends on timing.
Okay.
You just may get an extra snack that day.
Okay.
So I would definitely get at least a little something in you,
Okay.
especially because, again, you're at home, let's say you wake up at 4:30, and you get here at 5:15, you're not done till 6. I mean, that's an hour and a half of not having anything in your system.
Yeah.
And there are pros and cons. Some people, you know, if you were at your house, you got up, you worked out, then you could definitely eat afterwards. It's just a little bit longer than what I would really like. And again, we can kind of play with it a little bit
Okay.
as well. But I definitely would say eat a little something, even if it's like half a protein drink.
Okay.
Get something in your system. It does not have to be heavy. It doesn't have to be a full meal, anything along those lines.
Okay.
So.
Is there like protein drinks that you would like
Yep.
be okay with, like? Okay.
Yep, I'm gonna put a list together and
Okay, cool.
send them out.
Okay.
You're never gonna find, you know,
Well,
the best, but at
I'd
least,
probably do better with a protein drink than anything else.
so.
Is there any semi-healthy, like lunch meat that, you know, cause I can do breakfast and dinner with like real meat, but I'm gonna crave my sandwiches at lunch, a turkey sandwich or whatever.
You can have lunch meat. I have lunch meat on here.
Oh, okay.
But I definitely like trying to get, go to the deli and get it for sure.
Cool.
And I like for me, Boar's Head is one of my favorite. I know it's a
It's
little bit
good.
more expensive. I know Simple Truth has one at Kroger or whatever, but definitely Boar's Head is one of my favorite ones that I like to
And they
go
have a low
towards.
sodium kind too, that's not bad.
Yeah, so, and, you know, even though you're, again, not saying you can't have a sandwich, but I do like getting a low-calorie tortilla or something. The Ezekiel ones make a tortilla, a sprouted one, or doing lettuce wraps, where, you know, they actually make lettuce leaves that are big enough that you can load it and roll it to give you that sensation. And it doesn't sound as great as like a nice, big, thick sandwich, but it definitely helps if you're kind of looking for like a sandwich type thing.
Kroger has those individual
Yep, the big
lettuce
Yep,
leaves
that's what I was
you
talking
can
about.
buy in the container, cause I use those all the
Yep,
time.
that's what we do.
And put tuna or chicken or whatever.
Yeah, it's
and-
right where the
'cause I'm
lettuce
not
is.
a
It's
big-
like a clear plastic thing, and they're all single.
Oh,
and
Yeah,
they're
and
probably
it'll say, I think it says
they're big.
burger singles or
Oh,
burger
okay.
slices
I'll have to
maybe,
look for
Sandwich
or
singles
something
or
on them,
something
but they're
like that.
individual
Yeah.
flat
They're-
leaves.
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah, and
I
they're
like to
really
do
nice.
those. Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know.
Any other
Those are my
questions?
problems.
Part of the weight loss challenge for exercises, you get one of these kids once a week. For the entire day. They're yours.
That's the other subject that I haven't hit on, exercising. So definitely promote you working out during this program, whether it's coming to classes here or doing it on your own. I also want you to record that as well, and let me know how much you're doing, because that can impact all this also. And I would definitely recommend, if you don't do anything, start with 1 to 2 days. If you do stuff, 2 to 3. But ultimately, I'd say you want to do something for at least 30 minutes every day, even if it's just a walk. Something every day for at least 30 minutes. You know, and strength training is huge. I definitely encourage strength training. Zach?
I take no responsibility for that one.
2 to 3 days a week. Definitely get some strength training in at least 2, if not 3 days a week. Get some cardio. They don't have to be crazy 45-minute hour workouts, 20, 30 minutes. And I'll even try to I don't know if I'll be able to demonstrate it, but we can get some videos up, and we do have some videos on our YouTube page of stuff that you can do at home that are simple and basic, to at least get your heart rate up for 15, 20 minutes, or, you know, get a quick little strength workout in. Yeah, so definitely want you to exercise as much as possible. Get the heart rate up, burn some extra calories. That'll always help in this process.
So if you do the portion control one and you try and follow the, you know, sizes and times and all that, don't have to stress so much about the calories? Because I can see myself like,
Yep, that's why I gave a second option.
well, I can see myself eating a lot of calories, just, even if it's just within those little portions.
Yeah.
So it might not work, but I guess if you look at our plans, you'll see.
Yeah, so again, and you can kind of switch and kind of go between the two
Okay.
as well. You can use pretty much any of the stuff on the sample menu for the portion control, because these are all portion controlled. You just don't have to technically record all of this. And if you do go on MyFitnessPal and are recording, and the calories and stuff are a little bit different, because 4 ounces of ground sirloin on there, there's like 30 different ones, all kind of within 10 or so calories of each other, but don't get so crazy about that, because the one I chose may not be the one that you chose. Angie, do you have a question?
I was gonna say the same thing, like, I don't traditionally eat fish, so I don't even know the value of protein. Where would you suggest finding the breakdown? Like, if I want to start incorporating that, so I'll know it's this much protein, this much. Cause my fitness pal has, I looked last night, we were gonna do chili dogs, and I was like, oh, it can vary from 150 calories to 500 for one.
And it does.
So I don't know that that's really a good source.
And it just depends. If you want to eat, I mean, let me see if I can find a good like PDF or document that will give like basic like 4 ounces of salmon, like raw, like
I would like that.
salmon. I'll write that. Can you write that down as well?
No, what was it? I got the protein part.
A document with calories for like salmon or ground beef, like one document rather than relying on MyFitnessPal that's got a whole bunch of different variations. Because again, some of them, it's like with grilled with seasoning, and it's this many calories. Then this one is baked, and it's this many. So, and I know I have something like that somewhere that I can send out with basic ideas of that.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any concerns or anything with all this? Again, a lot of information today, so don't be like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? Take it one step at a time. Like I said, if the first week you just want to try cutting back on this or that, and then adding this or that, and then wait till week 2 or 3 to do some of this, that's fine. But all I'm going to ask you to do is to just record what you're doing, so we can visually see it and keep you accountable and keep you on track. Anything else? Kim?
So MyFitnessPal doesn't do the protein minus fiber, or the
Carbs minus.
carbs minus fiber.
Right.
So, but does it show you, it does show you what.
It does show
fiber,
you
so
what your total
Okay, I haven't looked at it
carbs
for a while.
are, and it shows you what your total fiber is.
Okay.
Oh, is that
So,
fat or fiber?
fat.
That's what, fat, protein, carbs.
40% fiber. You
Oh,
guys may not like me very much.
Wow, we'd be in the back.
That's a lot.
Well, it's just like, yeah, when you say.
Well, and honestly, like when you're eating a lot of whole foods, when you're eating healthy fruits and vegetables and all that kind of stuff, you're gonna get plenty of fiber. Is that, you know, all that plant beans, all that kind of stuff, that's where your fiber comes from. All the animal products really have no fiber in them, or very little, and it's pretty much from what they've eaten. So again, fruits and vegetables and the whole grains, all that kind of stuff is gonna be where your fiber is. So the more you're eating of that, I mean, how many do you actually eat 4 to 7 servings of vegetables a day? So
What do
again,
they consider a serving? How much? A half
So-
cup? Is that a half a cup?
a cup of vegetables is
A cup
serving.
is 1 serving?
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot of vegetables.
Again, it is a lot of vegetables. So most of the time, I've included at least 2 cups of vegetables in a meal,
Okay.
or a cup for a snack. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. And again, experiment, try different recipe. I'll try to send some more vegetable medley type recipes for you to try. That will be good. I love to roast our vegetables, so I love to
Yeah, I do too, that's good.
cut up a bunch of broccoli and cauliflower and asparagus, put a little bit of olive oil or coconut oil, and roast them in the oven, even with Brussels sprouts. Never thought I'd ever
I
be eating
love
Brussels
Brussels
sprouts.
sprouts.
But when you roast them and you
They're
put a little
delicious.
olive oil, a little garlic,
I love beets
and I
roasted.
even on occasion like to do a little grated Parmesan or
Parmesan.
Romano
I
on
do
them.
too.
Just a little bit, just for a little kick.
That's
but-
good.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that you can do to make vegetables taste good if you struggle with vegetables. You know, throwing a cup of spinach in a smoothie. It may not look pretty, but you really won't taste it if you have a good blender. So,
I saw in that one smoothie, or some of the things for breakfast, it's like raw cauliflower in that smoothie. Does that really get,
you would not taste it. You
I
would
mean,
not-
I like cauliflower. I eat
Yeah.
cauliflower just by itself, but I thought
Yeah, it blends up.
cauliflower in a smoothie?
Yep. It blends up.
Okay.
So it's, again, just something outside, you know, take a step outside of your box, try some new things. If you don't like them, you don't have to eat them. But I definitely say try, at least try a little bit.
So the stuff that you have in here that's a peanut butter smoothie, you have the recipe for that one.
The recipe
That's
is
in there.
at the very back of the document.
Okay.
So if you go through the 7 days, there's menu recipes. So any recipe that's in the plan is at the back of the documents. So, and like I said, I'll be sending out more recipes today and then throughout the program. And if you're like, oh, I really want a hankering for something sweet, you know, but I don't want to eat this, I can come up with an idea for you to get that craving taken care of for a healthier, lower calorie option than probably what you're used to.
3/8 of a cup of nuts, she's got a kid.
I tell her that all the time.
Huh?
I tell her that all the time. And don't be afraid in the group that's on Facebook, if you're on that, to look through it, there's already a lot of stuff in there, but then to say something, because there's probably somebody that's attached to that group who's had the same craving that you're having and can have a suggestion on it.
Or if you find a recipe that you like, that you want to share, post it on there or send it to me so I can send it out to the group. I'll be sending about probably 2 emails a week to you guys, kind of trying to keep you on track. I don't want to bombard you with emails, but definitely suggestions and different things of how people are doing or whatnot,
Is it,
about twice a week.
is it the big Facebook group or is there a group within the group? No, it's just one Facebook group.
Right now, it's one Facebook group, but if you prefer, I can create a new Facebook group just for this group if you want.
I'm okay.
But I kind of like keeping it, because we've done other transformations
Right.
with people, that people have posted recipes and questions and all that kind of stuff, that you can kind of do that. Anything else?
I forgot, what's 25% is what?
Carbohydrates.
Carbs.
Do you have any questions?
Sorry, yeah, my handwriting.